Hi, I'm Dr. Anna Defayette, and I'm joined by Dr. Morica Hutchison. We are postdoctoral fellows in the Department of Psychiatry at URMC. We're here with the Gut Health series to talk about tools that you can use to manage stress, depression, and grief during the winter holiday season. The holidays can be a stressful time for anyone. So people set expectations on what celebrations are supposed to be like. They create long to-do lists that keep them busy and pull them away from enjoying the present moment. They spend time with family and friends who they might be in conflict with. And so this can make the holidays really challenging. And over time, that stress can hurt both your physical and your mental health. For people who are also struggling with depression or grief or recent loss of a loved one, sadness can also amplify the stress that we feel around the holidays. Our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all connected. So sadness and stress can impact the way that we think about the holidays and the things we do to cope with those feelings of sadness and stress. The thoughts we have can also lead to more feelings of sadness and stress, and harmful coping can impact our thoughts and our feelings. So we can get stuck really quickly in a negative spiral. The three tools that we'll talk about today focus on shifting thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to help curb the spiral and make it easier to manage stress and depression, as well as grief. So these three tools include feeling emotions in a safe way, recognizing and reframing unhelpful thoughts, and seeking support from others.
Our first topic of discussion today is how to feel your emotions in a safe way. Firstly, be realistic about your feelings. If someone close to you is unable to attend the holidays this year, does it make sense to feel sad? Yes, of course. It's important to acknowledge your feelings and realize that it is normal to feel sadness or grief if someone you are looking forward to attending your holidays is unable to attend, or a special person in your life has passed in the recent years. It's okay to take time to cry or express your feelings. By bottling up our emotions, they can often be prolonged and increased in intensity. So it's important to express and let out what we are feeling. Finally, you can't force yourself to be happy just because it's the holiday season. Recognizing that sadness, grief, or stress influence our emotions, and just because it is a time of celebration and joy does not mean that we always have to feel that way. This analogy states that the longer you hold on to the glass of water, the heavier it becomes until you can no longer go on. And this relates to holding on to our emotions. The longer we hold on to them, the heavier they become, the more intense they become, and it makes it challenging to move on and enjoy our times during the holidays. This here is a list of both harmful coping strategies and healthy coping that we can try to utilize in exchange. So often when we're feeling stressed or sad, we might withdraw from friends and family. And one strategy to address this can be to make sure we're meeting our basic needs. So whether this is taking a nice warm shower or a nap. Often individuals also turn to increased substance use during times of stress or grief in the holidays, such as increased alcohol intake. And a more healthy and adaptive strategy to this would be to focus on engaging in hobbies or other stress relievers that make you feel good, whether this is creating, such as baking or making arts and crafts, or getting active to move our bodies. Engaging in more healthy coping can help us to feel our emotions in a safe way.
Our second tool is recognizing and reframing unhelpful thoughts. It's important to know that events don't make us feel upset, but like we talked about before, our thoughts and feelings are connected. So the thoughts that we have about an event lead us to have certain emotions. So for example, say you had a poor night of sleep. So you make a big pot of coffee, you have your first cup, and you go to get a second cup, and you see that your partner took the rest of the pot of coffee. Maybe you think, why did they do that? They knew I made that pot for myself, and you feel angry. But what if you thought, they must be just as tired as I am? Maybe you still feel a little annoyed, maybe frustrated, but not the same level of anger. You might even feel a sense of calm. This is why two people who find themselves in the exact same situation may have different feelings about the event. Sometimes when an event happens, our brains jump to a thought that's distorted. This is like wearing someone else's glasses where the world can get blurry or warped. And especially when we're feeling sad, stressed, or are grieving, our minds can play tricks on us by focusing only on the worst case scenario, assuming others have negative intentions, or assuming that nothing will go right just because one thing didn't go our way. So the first thought we have in an event can lead us to have strong negative emotions that pull us down, or may lead us to have harmful coping behaviors. Say, for example, every year your family comes in from out of town for New Year's Eve. 2 days before New Year's Eve, they cancel their trip. Maybe you think there's no point in celebrating at all if they aren't coming. What do you do with that thought? The first step in recognizing if you're having an unhelpful or a distorted thought is to ask yourself a couple of questions. Ask yourself, is it true that there's no point? Maybe not. Maybe there's still a point to celebrating, just in a different way. But maybe it does feel somewhat true, like there's no point. So ask yourself, is this helpful for me to think this? By asking yourself these questions, you can start to notice if your mind is playing a trick on you, if you're focusing only on the worst case scenario, if the facts of a situation are getting distorted. But what do you do from there? Our next step is to talk back to our thoughts to change the way we feel. So after you've asked if your thought is true and if it's helpful, ask yourself, what is a more true or a more helpful thought for me right now? If you've had the thought that there's no point in celebrating and you decide, okay, maybe this thought isn't totally true and it's really not helpful because it makes me feel really sad, then a more true or more helpful thought might be, maybe there are still ways we can celebrate together. It'll just look different from usual. Maybe you think, I might still be able to make plans with my neighbors or someone else in town. It's important to remember that this is not the same as just thinking positively or thinking happy thoughts. Not every situation has a bright side. Some situations are just really hard to handle. And it's okay if these things make you feel sad. Sometimes our more helpful thought is to just acknowledge that you feel sad. If you've lost a loved one and you're thinking that there's no point in celebrating, a more helpful thought might be, I'm allowed to feel sad right now because loss is hard. Acknowledging that feeling can then make it easier to use some of our other tools, like feeling emotions in a safe way or seeking support.
Our final topic of today is to seek supports that empower you. The holidays can be an emotional time. And so if you are feeling stressed, lonely, or isolated, seek out community, religious, or other social events for support and companionship. Lean on family or friends by reaching out in moments of grief or stress to lighten the load of your emotions from just on yourself to sharing that with those around you. And finally, volunteering your time to help others can not only lift your spirits, but help to broaden your friendships and your social supports and companionships. And a final strategy related to your social supports is to make a plan. So one step could be to make a plan with your social supports to check in with you before, during, or after holiday events. Or if you know a holiday event is going to be hard, make a plan to use healthy coping strategies to manage your emotions, such as making sure your basic needs are met, whether this is drinking extra water or having a healthy meal prior to attending an event that may be stressful for you. It's also important to focus on incorporating healthy coping specific to your emotions to feel them in a safe way. So if we are feeling sadness or grief, to allow ourselves to cry or even write down how we are feeling. Another strategy is to set aside specific days for shopping, baking, visiting friends, and other activities to help spread out more heavy emotional days versus days that can help us feel more productive and positive. And a final step might be to plan your menus and make your shopping list. Being organized and having strategies in place to help us get tasks crossed off of our list can often help to lighten moments of feeling stressed. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend our talk today. Our contact information is located on this page. Please reach out if you have any questions or comments, and we wish you a happy and healthy holiday season.